special schools fill up.
A poll of parents by the National Education Unions revealed that 41% of children over the age of 4 are not in full-time school. Half of parents aren't happy about the provision they are in, and nearly 3/4 believe that they aren't given adequate support to help their child.
Rebecca Vasey now teaches her daughter Natasha at home after she struggled in mainstream school and threatened to take her own life. Rebecca is still fighting for a diagnosis to reflect her complex needs.
Serena Sandu reports now on special education in crisis.
Rebecca Vasey from Thetford believes her family have been failed by a flawed education system. Her 9-year-old son Alfie has been diagnosed with autism, but is on a 3-month waiting list to be seen by an occupational therapist. Her daughter Natasha, who's 15, still hasn't had a diagnosis, 4 years on from the start of her struggles in mainstream school.
There was never any work sent home for her to do, so she was quite severely behind and was even threatened with being put behind a year, which obviously added to the anxiety of her going back in the first place. So I don't know if I would ever get her back in school now because of the damage caused. She's never had a normal teenage life where she was off from school so much. A lot of her friends have dropped away. She only has 2 or 3 friends that she can talk to now. She's very isolated, but there's no help to get her out anywhere.
Rebecca has to give her daughter medication for panic attacks, and she's too anxious to appear on camera. While at school, Natasha made threats to end her life and is now home educated.
I wished I'd thought of it earlier. It would have saved a lot of heartache for her. And I think that if she'd have stayed at the school she was in, she wouldn't be here with us now. But since pulling her out of school and home educating her, she's 90% back to herself.
Bradley Chapman from Colchester was diagnosed with autism when he was 6 and had one-to-one support at primary school. But now, aged 11, he's struggling to cope at his mainstream secondary school.
I thought to myself, oh, this is exciting, a new school. But somewhere around autumn or December time, everything started to dive down. I don't know why, something, anxiety maybe, most likely that.
Bradley's mom, Teresa, says he's become ill with stress and his grades are slipping because there's no learning support assistance to keep him on track. Her local special school told her they're oversubscribed and Bradley is too able to attend.
We're walking on that fine line between the mainstream school and the 30 children in the class, and obviously the noise levels and the cramped and busyness feel of that. But it's being on an academic level that he needs versus a special school where they might not even take him on because academically he's probably a lot further ahead.
For parents like Rebecca and Teresa who feel it's a constant struggle to get the best for their child, they say they need support now, not once families reach breaking point. Serena Sandu, ITV News.
Well, the Department for Education says it's launched a review into school exclusions. It's also told us that the high needs budget for pupils with special educational needs is £6 billion this year. It is the highest on record. It says it wants to make sure all families and children with special educational needs get the support that they need, which is why we are undertaking the biggest reforms in a generation to put families at the heart of the process.
Well, Louise Engels runs Not Fine in School, a group of parents aiming to raise awareness of the difficulties in the special educational needs system. Hello, Louise. You've had first-hand experience of this problem, haven't you? What have you found?
I have had experience through my own children and also through the group Not Fine in School. Found that children who have diagnoses of medical conditions or even special needs or are struggling to get those diagnoses are just not having their needs met within school.
So you believe that this is a widespread issue, and why is it that you think the number of children struggling to attend mainstream schools is growing?
I think it's growing due to a lack of resources, but also a lack of working together, a lack of agencies understanding how each other work, each other's budgets, each other's resources. increasingly we're finding that rather than working with parents, that's why we're called Not Fine in School, is we're told that our children are fine when they're at school when they're clearly not. And added to that, parents are at risk of prosecution for attendance, and even in a lot of cases, including my own, we're accused of fabricating and inducing illnesses. These are children who have got diagnoses, but they are disputed.
So you feel like you're almost being blamed for the problem. So what do you think is the answer? The government says its budget for special educational needs has never been higher, so it isn't actually just about money, is it?
It's not about money, it's about training and understanding. It's about actually following the policies that are there in place, and it's about using the resources effectively. There's no accountability for special needs budgets, how they're actually used, and a lot of children are missing out.
Louise Engels, thank you very much for giving us your thoughts today.
Well, we want to hear from you on this one. What have been your experiences of the education system when it comes to catering for special educational needs? Well, you can get in touch via email at anglianews@itv.com.
And by the way, links to advice and support are available on our website. And tomorrow we'll be hearing from some of our schools about the strain on resources and the difficulties that creates. And we'll hear some of your thoughts too.
Well, thanks for joining us for your regional news tonight. Here's what we've got coming up.
And may the blessing of God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit